You know, the whole idea behind the Handpicked for You program is to help make things a little easier for you to be able to find the best performing varieties that we know will do well in this region. And with this here, the Bugbane, or the black snake root as it's commonly known, and today it's known botanically as Actaea racemosa, but I learned it many years ago as Semicifuga racemosa. But this particular form, which is called Chocoholic, is in my opinion the best form that I've ever seen of this native perennial. And when you look here at these really dark, rich, lacy purple leaves and lovely big red stems that come up from the bottom, you can begin, I think, to see what we're talking about. For here is a really nice native perennial that will do a lovely job to put in at, say, the back of a perennial border, a kind of backdrop with this lacy foliage that does really stand out. In nature, it's normally green. In the summertime, in late summer and autumn, it starts to produce flowering spikes that will get up to 4 or 5, maybe even 6 foot tall, with long, slender, sweetly scented bottlebrush flowers that kind of sit and dance above the foliage like rockets shooting up into the sky. Here's one, on the other hand, that has this really delightful shade of purple leaves, which makes it stand out and what makes it, in my opinion, so superior within the Handpicked for You program. And that's why it's become a certified variety. I'm very fond of this. It's got the hardiness and reliability of a native perennial, but the really delightful dark purple lacy foliage of this modern day variety. Developed by Marco van Noort in the Netherlands, he found it as a seedling in 2001, and we love it because it's nice and vigorous and strong growing. The thing with Actaeas typically is that it takes them a few years to get started, takes them a few years to get going, but this one looks to be really nice and vigorous and makes a lovely pot plant already, one that you can pop in to a partially shaded site. Ideally, I would like to think that you'd be able to grow this in a place where it gets some sun, because you're going to be able to get better color on the foliage when it's got sun on it. If it's in a drier situation, you'll find that it won't grow quite so well. It'll be a little bit more compact and squat. So it's important when you get it that you get nice, big, strong, well-grown plants like these. Dig a good-sized hole, work in plenty of organic matter. That's important because it loves to have a humus-rich soil that's able to retain moisture. When you put it in first, make sure to water it until it gets established, and then I'd recommend a nice deep mulch, because that will also help to keep it nice and moist and give it a cool root run. When you do that, you'll be able then to have lots of luxuriant growth that will come back year after year to give you this wonderful foliage effect. Then you can look forward to the flowers I described earlier coming in the autumn time. Now, people love the flowers, but I have to say with this variety, I really like the dark black foliage that you get with it and the opportunities that that presents in the garden. Now, look here. Look how it contrasts so nicely with these golden yellow deciduous azaleas. Then look how nice it looks when you put it next to some bold silvery blue leaved hostas. And then if you've got the space and the inclination, you could try popping it next to some of the little anemones like this little white swan. All sorts of things you can do with this really exotic looking, beautiful, dark purple foliage. One final thing before I finish with this is that wherever you get it and plant it in your garden, let it stay. You see, Actaeas have a taproot, kind of like a dandelion, that goes down into the ground, and they do not transplant well. That's why it's important that you get nice container grown plants like these that are healthy and vigorous. You take them, you plant them in the ground, and then let it stay. Don't try to move it. So that's the only thing that I would say about this wonderful variety of our native perennial. This is Actaea Chocoholic, a spectacular certified variety from the Handpicked for You program.